Yeah. The shooter told police Lil Durk paid him for murder.
As y'all know, Little Durk's approaching,
shit.
and maybe he let go as of late came here to see. Now, as y'all know, Little Durk's case has been pretty quiet as of lately, and maybe it's because his trial date is slowly approaching,
Right.
and
When
maybe he let go of trying to get bond once he realized that they weren't trying to let him out.
I ain't giving that nigga no bond.
Now, not only are they
I knew they wasn't giving him no bond when he tried to run the first time.
Trying to let him out, but to keep attempting to get a bond is not only exhausting after being rejected time after time after time, but it's also expensive.
Right.
Durk had one of the top lawyers who coined himself as the billion-dollar lawyer, who goes by the name of Drew Finland. And Drew is not only just a celebrity lawyer, but he also represented the current president, Donald J. Trump, which that alone gives him enough leverage to basically set his price wherever he chose.
Yeah.
And he does a good job, so 9 times out of 10,
hold on. Come on, let's go.
people are going to pay him whatever he asks for.
Yep.
He isn't the only lawyer on Durk's case neither, as Durk hired a team of attorneys to represent him in his current legal struggle, where he's being accused of hiring hitmen of targeting Quando Rondo to be shot and unalive, but will ultimately unalive his cousin, Little Pab, instead. Allegedly. Now, of course, Durk was the only one.
Allegedly? What you mean allegedly, bruh? We seen that shit. It was on the news.
Involved. He's just being accused of being a mastermind, as prosecutors believe it was get back for King Von being shot and unalive by Quando Rondo associate Lil Pab.
My thing is, bro, he told on himself. So what am I supposed to say about that? If you get niggas whacked and then you telling on your, like, what the fuck? What?
Back in November of 2020. Now, Little Durk was granted a total of 3 bond arrangements in a matter of just 6 months, which is usually unheard of.
Right.
Many of us thought he was going to be released at some point because else not. Why was he granted multiple bond hearings if nothing against him have changed from the first time he was denied? Unless it's just a money move on the court's behalf, maybe Durk was just being swindled the whole time, knowing that every time he's presented in court, it's money in the attorney's pockets. I don't know, that's just a wild guess of me trying to understand what's going on. However, another situation that Little Durk was thrown in, which came to surface in unsealed documents before he was denied bond the first time, back in December of 2024, which was the unaliving of a Chicago native who went by the name of Stephon Mack. On January 27, 2022, 24-year-old Stephon Mack was shot and unalive as he was leaving the Youth Peace Center of Roseland.
I want to put y'all on to some of the easiest money you'll ever make in your life. Freecast.com is a website that allows you to literally get paid.
Shows
Description below and start getting that bag. You did?
on West 111th Street in Chicago. CCTV footage shows 2 masked men waiting in a vehicle outside of the youth center, parked opposite of all the cars, making it a little suspicious, waiting for Mac to exit the youth center. As Mac exited, they would spot him as he looked suspiciously at the vehicle and started firing at Mac as he ran away, and one of the suspects chased him. Mac would later on pass away due to his injuries at the hospital, and the feds believe this was a targeted hit. The feds allege that Little Durk was also behind that situation and would try to charge him with the same.
The scary part is the feds, bro. It's not the police, gang. That's a different story. If this was the police, I'd be like, all right, he got a chance. This is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, bro. If they say he did it, 9 times out of 10, he did it, because they not going to come playing crazy. They not going to even play with you if they don't know they got you. That's just how it works.
For higher charge, as they allege Stephon Mack was the leader of a GD set in Chicago called Smashville. This set is said to be responsible for the unaliving of Little Durk's brother, money-making D-Thing, who was shot and unalive back in 2021 at Club O. So the motive behind the unaliving of Mac was basically get back for D-Thing, allegedly, according to FBI. This would be a devastating blow to Little Durk, as they had a bunch of evidence against him, tying him to the suspects who they claim involved Durk's names in text messages and phone calls, stating that they are waiting for a payment from him for something after Mac's passing, indicating that they will be paid for the shooting, allegedly. We even seen pictures showing Little Durk around the suspects in Chicago, which is what made the feds believe that he is somehow affiliated with them some way.
Right.
However, with all that said and done, we will see the unsealed case against Durk get randomly dropped out of nowhere in June of this year, right before the ruling of his last bond hearing.
Hold on. Bruh. So this means but it's the Feds. If Durk, but how you gonna beat the Feds though? Like, which means if this nigga does not beat the Feds, he's gone for a long time for murder for hire. And then it's people he was associated with, and then they were asking him, but he's a rich rapper though, so he might beat the shit that the niggas asking for money. You feel me? He'll say, man, niggas ask me for money all the time. I'm a rapper. You feel me? So people I hang around be asking me for money. But you feel me? Then they got caught for killing somebody, so fuck.
News sources will state that Durk will no longer be charged with M for hire for the unaliving of Stephon Mack.
Oh, okay. So
I found it kind of weird because not only did they not give us much of a clear reason as to why, but one may ask yourself, why would they gather all this evidence and information to go against Durk and then just suddenly drop everything out of nowhere?
Right, that's weird.
There's no statute of limitations on the body, so what was the reason? Durk may have just dodged a bullet because according to court documents, it would say, quote, the government repeatedly cites to allegations from a federal case out of Illinois where Mr. Banks have never been charged and never will be charged despite the passage of over 3 years since the underlying incident.
But it's just
the government's own exhibit reveals that the allegations pertaining to Mr. Banks are based primarily on information from a cooperating human source described in the affidavit as a paid FBI informant and former gang member with a criminal history. Most importantly, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois have confirmed that they do not plan to supersede the charges there to indict Mr. Banks in connection with the ongoing case in United States versus Anthony Montgomery Wilson and Preston Powell. When asked by Judge Thomas M. Durkin whether the case will be superseded, the government affirmed that it will not be. This court should give no weight to these uncharged and uncorroborated allegations. If the AUSAs in Chicago, who have had over 3 years to evaluate the evidence, have determined not to charge Mr. Banks or even name him as a co-conspirator, like they have with 2 other individuals, this court should not rely on these same non-meritorious allegations to justify and
they probably just trying to get a nigga life so they don't care about the other charge. That's what it sounds like to me. They probably got the official case so strong that they don't care about the second one. Ain't no reason to charge you with 2. You gonna get life anyway.
Or impart Mr. Banks' continued detention. So I don't know if maybe they didn't have enough evidence that they feel would have stuck.
Yeah, probably.
Or they just didn't want to continue with the superseding indictment for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But you gotta watch the feds because this how they play. They're very tricky and you just never know. So is it safe to say that he don't have to worry about nothing, or do he? Well, recently it will come out that one of the suspects got finessed by the oldest trick in the book when it comes to being incarcerated. A guy by the name of AJ from a set called Mike City admitted everything to a jailhouse informant who was purposely put in the same cell as him to get information. Now, unfortunately, I've been incarcerated before, and one of the rules you learn in there from the older guys is to never, ever, ever speak about your case to anybody.
Exactly.
You can, but at your own risk.
On what you did
never know who's who.
Right.
And the police get tricky by using people who are inmates or officers that go undercover and act like inmates to get information out of you. So the whole time you think you having a moment with another inmate, but they were really assigned to get information out of you pertaining to your case, and you was being recorded the whole time without even knowing. Well,
that would be crazy.
That's what occurred. According to official court documents, it is a quote, a jailhouse informant was recruited by law enforcement, prepped to elicit a statement by Montgomery Wilson, and briefed on how and when to record him. On February 25th, 2023, the jailhouse informant did so. A portion of the longer recording purportedly involves a discussion regarding the charge M, which occurred over a year before. In it, Mr. Montgomery Wilson repeatedly names and references the nickname Marley, which is the alias the government associates with Mr. Powell, and charge him under docket 1 at 1 Exhibit A at 1317. Specifically in this recording, Marley is specifically named over 10 times by the speaker, attributed to be Mr. Montgomery Wilson, and interwoven throughout the recording. Exhibit A at 1317. Those references included a detailed description of the planning of the charged homicide, the execution of the homicide, and Marley's supposed role in it, and payments sought and made relating to the homicide. It is a founding precept of our Constitution that an accused has a right to be confronted with the witnesses against him. Mr. Powell.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say to this, bro. Like I don't know. How stupid do you have to be?
Has no indication that Mr. Montgomery Wilson intends to testify at trial. Thus, if admitted at a joint trial, this recording would patently violate Mr. Powell's Sixth Amendment right to confrontation. It is anticipated that the government would suggest that such statement is admissible under Mr. Powell under the theory that it was a statement against penal and I guess whatever code that they have for it. Now they say the guy Marley, who was believed to be his co-defendant in the shooting, was named over 10 times.
Oh, that's a co-defendant.
One thing I realized is that they gave us minimal information and left a few things out. They say that he basically admitted everything from how the shooting was orchestrated, how it was planned, down to the payment.
And they ain't say nothing about Durk's name either.
So now it's 100% confirmed that they actually were paid, but the documents never stated by who.
Right.
And when you go back to the old documents concerning this case, they said that they named Little Durk's name as getting payment for what transpired.
Right, I remember that shit.
So, what happened? Who paid him? And if not Durk, then money? Who? Also the same video, which was Aha, where the feds accused Little Durk of trolling Stephon Mackin. AJ was also in that video as well. Now, aside from that, it's strange how the feds just dropped the case against Durk. I have a hard time believing that they gathered all that information, provided what they had,
without no
all
snitch,
just to let him go off the case.
Yeah.
Now, you know how they play. Sometimes they have something brewing in the background.
Is Durk coming home? Is Durk coming home, y'all?
Something more bigger. So they'll let him get off on this one because they feel that maybe he won't get out of their custody due to whatever he got going on. And then maybe they might bring this case up in the long run, but something isn't adding up. What I would say is this: AJ didn't snitch. I see a lot of people saying AJ is the one that cooperated, he's an informant, but no. They just finessed him and tricked him by putting somebody in this.
That's snitch. I don't get no fuck what you say, gang. That's snitching, bro. That's why you're not supposed to say nothing if you
sell with him.
If you
and basically had him tell him information and recorded him saying
why are you talking about it?
Now it's up to him if he want to admit it during the trial that he did say it or not. That's totally up to him. But it's going to be a hard time trying to convince a jury that it's not your voice
snitch,
on
bro.
that
You just ain't tell the police you snitch, bro.
9 times out of 10, if you blow trial, you wouldn't get a whole bunch of time.
If you say this shit on the internet, you say that shit to a random dude, if you say that shit to your grandma, if you tell anybody about anything, you snitch to him. That's point blank period.
But there is a hearsay claim. You can say, I was trying to be tough, or man, I was faking for social media. Man, I was faking for that boy not to think I'm soft. Just simple, like you can say anything.
Just cooperate. I don't know. There was a lot of evidence to back up their claims on top of the phone that was left in the suspect's car. The informant that they say got other stuff, and it's just a lot, man. Somehow Little Durk wiggled himself out of that one. Let's see how it goes. I wonder if they would try to recharge him for it another time, or maybe. What? Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget.
Like, comment, subscribe, road to 4 million. I'm on fire with you.